and not just some of it. So a great job by LSU. Once again, they're off this week, just like their next opponent is also off this week. They've got Alabama and a primetime game in 2 weeks on the 5th of November. Number one Alabama, who is just playing spectacular football, going against the Tigers. All you need to know is that Coach Orgeron was asked at the quarterback club, hey, are we talented enough to compete with Alabama? And without hesitation, Coach Orgeron said, hell yeah, we're good enough. And we're going to be prepared, and we're going to fight like crazy. I hope you get a chance to go see that video with Coach Orgeron. He was in command of the room. I've known Bebe a long time. I coached against him, as a matter of fact, when he was a lineman at South Lafourche and on the same team with Bobby Hebert where they won a state championship. When I was at Chalmette, we used to scrimmage against them. Very first scrimmage of the year. And so the head coach at LSU is someone I coached against. Wow, what a milestone. But he was in command of the room, just did a beautiful job representing LSU and LSU football. So we're just wishing nothing but the best. LSU is in a great position to compete against Alabama and even beat them at home. I feel confident that the Tigers will absolutely play their best. Now let's take a look at the Saints and their difficult loss last week, really, against a very, very good Kansas City team. But still, when it comes right down to it, losing a difficult game, a game really that the Saints had in their control. There's no question about that. The attention to detail really was lacking when you look at the mistakes of the Saints and losing 27-21. When you looked at the Saints put the ball on the ground 3 times and lost 1, all of those preventable. Kansas City, no fumbles. The Saints didn't force even a fumble, much less recover one. New Orleans had 1 interception, and that was returned for a TD. That was preventable, and not just by Drew Brees, but by Willie Snead not coming back to the football. So the fumble that was lost by Mark Ingram in the red zone, entirely preventable. He slipped back into some bad habits that I've written about before and have pictures at sportsnola.com back in the first preseason game, as a matter of fact. Just something that was entirely preventable. Saints were in control of the game at that point, even though they were 10 points down. Kansas City wasn't going to stop them, and New Orleans had the game in their control, but that huge error, preventable error by Mark Ingram. If Willie Snead comes back to the ball, he prevents the touchdown return on an interception. When you kick in the number of penalties that the Saints had called on them, 13, with 10 of them being accepted for 75 yards. Kansas City had 5 penalties called, 4 were accepted for 30 yards. So when you look at the difference in returns, when you look at the difference in penalty yardage, you're getting a huge yardage differential. You're looking at 69 yards in returns that the Kansas City Chiefs were able to gain. A 48-yard fumble return, 21-yard interception return for touchdowns. That adds up to 69 total return yards. And then you look at Kansas City between penalty yardage, the difference in penalty yardage is 45 yards, 69 yards in returns, 114 additional yards that the Kansas City Chiefs were able to garner. I think I had it backwards. They had 21-yard fumble return, a 48-yard interception return for a touchdown. But that's 114 yards of hidden yardage. That's difficult to make up for during the course of a game. 114 yards in hidden yardage between penalty differential and return yardage. So the Saints end up losing a game because of that, even though their third down efficiency, the Saints' third down efficiency last week was 9 of 14, 64% was the best in the league last week. The defense held Kansas City to 33%, which was tied for 22nd in the league last week, only 3 for 9. So the Saints had an outstanding third down efficiency that got wasted because of the lack of attention to detail. Focus in getting the 13 penalties called on them, handling the ball the right way, coming back to the ball in your pass routes. All of those were within the Saints' control. And in talking about third down efficiency, after 6 games, an interesting statistic here, the Saints have converted 51.1% of their third downs on the road, 47.5% at home. They actually have a better third down conversion percentage on the road than at home, even though overall the Saints play much better at home than they have on the road so far. So their third down efficiency got wasted because of the additional yardage Kansas City was able to gain. And that wiped out the 463 yards to 326 yard advantage that the Saints had in total net yards. The Saints ran 71 plays. Kansas City ran 52 plays. The Saints averaged 6.5 yards a play, even though Kansas City averaged 6.3. But the Saints defense was getting Kansas City off the field enough times without the 2 big mistakes. So go to sportsnola.com and you could find in the Saints area, the Saints tab, you could find the video there of specifically what cost the Saints the football game. Now let's look ahead as the Saints are preparing now for the Seattle Seahawks. Donnell Ellaby says he's getting close. Gosh, he hasn't played a down this year. Hasn't been active for a single game this year because of injury. Gosh, what? Just been hurt one time after the other. Let's hope we can get Donnell Ellaby back on the field. Delvin Breaux practiced on a limited basis after fracturing his fibula in week 1. We look forward to Delvin Breaux. I believe he's eligible to come back week 9. We certainly need Delvin. What a great story he is. Andrus Peat returned to practice on a limited basis on Wednesday, as did Daniel Lasco. I'm expecting big things out of Daniel Lasco going forward. I hope he gets more opportunities as a running back, and he's certainly doing a great job on special teams as well. Terron Armstead missed practice Wednesday. So did Stephon Anthony. So did Sterling Moore. So did Jake Lampman, who was blown up on a kick coverage team. He's got a knee injury. And Nick Fairley has been cutting back on his practice time, and that's been wise. Nick Fairley has been playing well this year, but the Saints have been giving him off some time during the week at practice so that he could be fresh for the games, because it's been difficult with Sheldon Rankins being out, and Rankins can come back week 9, and we can look forward to that. I think Delvin Breaux might be able to come back before that, but Sheldon Rankins needs to come back and be able to spell Nick Fairley. Get a nice rotation in there at the tackle position, but Fairley has been playing quite well for the Saints this year, and that's something to continue to look forward to. Tough job this week playing the Seattle Seahawks and that great defense. Seattle in a tough 6-6 tie with the Arizona Cardinals this past week. Gosh, what a tough game that was for Arizona not to win. They completely outplayed the Seahawks, but the Seahawks, especially that defense, is as tough as can be. And so in the Dome at noon on Sunday, we're going to get a chance to see how the Saints stack up with one of the very, very best teams in the league. Coach Pete Carroll has done just an outstanding job with them. Russell Wilson has been beat up, and that's been difficult for the Seahawks to have to deal with. Russell Wilson is just such an outstanding player, but he's been hurt most of the year. But the Seahawks are still 4-1-1 with that tie game. Some of their best players have had to cut back on practice time this week because they had such a difficult game last week against the Arizona Cardinals. When you look at the two teams, Seattle is only averaging 18.5 points a game, while the Saints are averaging 29.3. Passing yardage, the Saints have an 80-yard per game average, 350 to 270. And this is what should be concerning to Seattle. Their rushing per game is only 82.7 yards, while the Saints are 82.3. So you know how the Saints need to do a better job of running the ball. So do the Seahawks. They have not done a very good job. Their offensive line has only been mediocre at best this particular year. And the Seahawks haven't taken the ball away as much as in the past, with only 6 takeaways so far, while the Saints have 8. So it'll be Jimmy Graham's homecoming. He has been doing better of late, even though last week really didn't show up like he had the previous weeks. But you know how explosive Jimmy Graham can be coming back to New Orleans and playing in the Superdome. So it will be great to see Jimmy Graham and how the Saints, be very interesting to me, how the Saints are able to adjust and how they're able to defend the Seahawks and what they're going to do to try to attack that great Seahawk defense. The Saints are only a game and a half of all things behind the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are 4-3. They have not had their bye week yet. Tampa Bay is 3-3 in the NFC South. The Saints are 2-4. Carolina continues to struggle at 1-5. Shows you how short a distance it is from the outhouse to the penthouse and vice versa. How the Carolina Panthers have indeed struggled this year. So there's a lot of interesting things to look forward to this week. Tulane with SMU on Saturday. The great prep games that are coming up on tonight, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday as well. And LSU off, mentioned Tulane, SMU, and then the Saints on Sunday. So plenty of great football ahead, and I'll be there covering most of those games. Once again, broadcasting Cy Academy, playing De La Salle tonight at Pan American. Jude Young and I will be on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com, and the TuneIn app. Jude and I will also be doing the John Curtis and Rummel game on Saturday. That budding rivalry there, that will be from Joe Yenny Stadium. So we're looking forward to that great endeavor there. You can get that on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com and the TuneIn app as well as SportsNola.com. So once again, a great weekend of football. Once again, you can get in touch with me in a variety of ways. If you have a question, something you want me to cover next week, because I'm going to try to have this podcast going every single week from the coach's office. And if I have some questions from you, I'll be sure to address them. You can get in touch with me through Facebook. That's at Rick Gailey, RickGaille. That's on Facebook. That's on Twitter. My Gmail account, rickgailey@gmail.com. Any of those, you have any questions like that, or you can message me at Facebook any way that you want to get questions to me or comments. I'll be sure to address them. I want to thank Kyle T. Mosley for giving me the opportunity to spend this time with you. This is Rick Gailey from the coach's office. I will see you at the game, and always do the best you can with what you got. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.